Tonight, can Mikel Arteta overcome the round of 16 phobia that Arsenal have suffered from in the past? It's Porto against Arsenal. It's the Champions League Live with former Ireland skipper Andy Townsend alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening to you, and this is what it's all about. Now, everything in football is relative, of course, but when Arsenal fans were enduring the seasons outside the Champions League, the frustrations of the late Wenger era, then the successive eighth-place finishes, it was this night they were dreaming of. There were times when the return to the knockout stages of Europe's premier competition must have felt so far away, but they're back, and now the need to take the next step. Because even when the Gunners were habitual Champions League participants and progressing through the group stage on an annual basis, this hurdle had become insurmountable. Time and again they get to the last 16, time and again they stumble. 7 years of non-qualification, preceded by 7 years of last 16 exits. If ever there was a barometer of Arsenal's progress, it's what happens tonight and back at the Emirates on March the 12th. Anything less than a first Champions League quarter-final for 14 years, Andy, is going to feel like a failure.
Yeah, I think it will at this stage, Jim. I really do. Not an easy tie in front of them, not an easy place to come and play and win comfortably. We're going to find out a little more about Mikel Arteta's team tonight. I think we've all been hugely impressed with what we've seen of late. But this, again, is high-stakes, high-pressure football. This is where a lack of concentration, a moment, a carelessness can cost you. And we spoke a little bit earlier about the inexperience in these sort of matches of this Arsenal team. Well, tonight they've got to show that they can handle that. They can come through it. They're up against some real seasoned campaigners. Pepe in particular at the heart of that Porto defence has been there, seen it, done it. So they know they've got to perform really well here to make sure that they leave with a favourable result.
Arsenal lining up with Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Kivior, Erdegaard, Rice and Havertz, Saka, Trossard and Martinelli. On the bench, Smith Rowe and Ketia, Cedric, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, Nelson, Elneny, Waneri, Sweet and Heaven, Ramsdale and Hine are the keepers. Porto, Diogo Costa in goal, João Mario, Pepe, Otavio and Wendell, Varela and Nico Gonzalez, Conceição, Pepe Aquino and Galeno, and Evan Nielsen leads the line. Their bench, Fabio Cardoso, Eustáquio, Grujic, the former Liverpool man, Namaso once of Reading, Jaime Sanchez, Andre Franco, Romario Baró, Tony Martinez, the former West Ham player, Borges, Zé Pedro, and the substitute goalkeeper is Claudio Ramos. The referee tonight, Serdar Gazjubiuk from the Netherlands. And of course we do have VAR. It's Dennis Higler who is checking the referee's decisions. So we're underway. Finally, Arsenal back in the knockout stages of the Champions League and back with a point to prove. No side in the competition's history has lost in the round of 16 more frequently than the Gunners, but having ended one bad run, can they now set about ending another and lay the foundations for a first Champions League quarter-final in 14 years? Arsenal red shirts with the white sleeves and white shorts, and they're kicking from left to right as we look at it. Porto in their traditional blue and white striped shirts.
Yeah, looking forward to this game, Jim. Again, we're coming to that stage where the Champions League does come to the boil, doesn't it? The best teams start to really put their foot to the floor. Arsenal have got to show that they can be part of that very elite group. We know that domestically in the Premier League they've had a little wobble back end of December, come through that, and they arrive here in Portugal this evening absolutely flying at the peak of their powers.
Loose ball down towards Declan Rice, and he wasn't quite anticipating the pass coming his way. He then had to stretch to try and get there, and has given a free kick away. It was a poor challenge. It became a 50-50 out by the touchline. He didn't get there, and as a result, he's got a yellow card after just 65 seconds of the night.
Yeah. Actually, he gave the ball to Saliba, Declan Rice, and he was then talking to one of the forward players as Saliba gave him it back. So he didn't have his eye on the ball. And then, all of a sudden, Wendell pounced on that. Looked like he was going to start making ground, moving forward. Declan Rice commits to a lunging challenge. He's on a yellow card literally inside the first couple of minutes.
The disciplinary situation tonight, incidentally, no Arsenal player is a yellow card away from missing the second leg through suspension at the start of the night. Porto with João Mario, the right back, and the number 10 Pepe Aquino, both on yellow cards coming into this game. Porto have worked the free kick short. Pepe Aquino's lost it. Arsenal will try and bring it away down the right-hand touchline and end up winning a throw. The experience of Kai Havertz is going to be crucial tonight. We talked about the fact that he's played 16 knockout ties in the Champions League before, which is a decent number, and of course he's been blessed with a huge amount of success within those 16. He's the only outfield player, the only player in this Arsenal side. They've got a few on the bench, but the only player in the Arsenal side who knows what Champions League knockout football is all about. That experience is going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, it looks like his starting position is somewhere in the middle of the park. Leandro Trossard playing more up the middle. Obviously Saka and Martinelli in those wide areas, so it looks like Havertz is in there with Odegaard, and Declan Rice very much holding the fort. Just needs to be a little careful now, Declan, obviously, so early on. Just unnerve you and unsettle you a little bit, picking up that yellow card. It can perhaps make you a little hesitant. I mentioned about discipline, and you just went through some of those numbers, Jim. Vitally important in these matches that you keep your head, that you don't dive in, that you don't lunge in, that you don't try and pinch balls where it's not imperative to do so, because you can get yellow cards and subsequent yellow cards very, very easily. And
this referee, beg your pardon, does have a reputation of being a real stickler. Serdakus Yubiuk down an early marker with the yellow card. Not that there could be any complaints. It was a yellow card challenge, particularly within the parameters of how European matches are officiated. Porto have got the ball at the back. It's gone to Otavio, who's making his European debut tonight. The last time that they were in a Champions League campaign, they had someone called Otavio wearing 31, and they do again tonight, but it's a different bloke. This is a young Brazilian centre-half playing alongside the vastly experienced Pepe, former winner of the competition, who turns 41 on Monday. Already the oldest ever outfield player in Champions League history. He's extended that record tonight. Arsenal working back inside their own half and down towards William Saliba.
Yeah. Do you know, when we were talking the other day, actually, on Talksport, Jim, about wind-up merchants. Now, let me tell you, Pepe has been an outstanding player, but nobody is a better wind-up merchant than him. He can somehow get involved and gets people involved in situations that they otherwise wouldn't. So again, if anyone's in and around him and he comes lunging in, he does it sometimes for a reason. He'll antagonise, he'll chip away, he'll infuriate, frustrate. Just got to make sure you keep your head, you don't lose your rag and you don't lose your discipline.
According to his autobiography, he learnt the dark arts watching DVDs of a certain Mr. Townsend back in the 1960s, I think he said.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
Here's Saka on the right-hand side for Arsenal. 5 gone 0-0. And chanceless so far. Remember, Luton leading at Liverpool in our live game over on Talksport with an early goal from Chido Abene. Martinelli beaten by João Mario. Takes the ball away and goes out for a throw. So if you want to listen to Liverpool against Luton, which you can't see on UK television tonight, of course, then that game is live for you right now over on Talksport. This one, 5.5 in, is 0-0 between Porto and Arsenal. Throw in an advanced position that looked suspiciously like a foul throw from Kivior, but the referee has let it go. Arsenal just taking conservative steps, working it back inside their own half, and inside the centre circle, Saliba will just work it forward here now for Declan Rice. He's got the time to turn, find Gabriel. Gabriel bringing the ball under control. It's 10 yards inside his own half. There's no pressure coming on him or the ball from the striker, Evan Nielsen, who's been in fantastic goal-scoring form for Porto, 19 of this season, including 8 in his last 7 games. Champions League hat-trick to boot in there. Here's Raya driving it forward now, out towards the Arsenal left-hand side, with Trossard, this free roll that he has coming from the number 9 position, but in a very unorthodox manner out towards the left-hand side, as well as being a false 9. He couldn't quite get on the end of that long ball forward. Porto work it back. Otavio to the goalkeeper, Diogo Costa, and then they've given it away with good pressure from Martinelli, forcing the error from João Mario.
Yep. Looks like when Arsenal are going to have possession in their own half, the Porto are holding a reasonably high line. The game is quite condensed over that 20-30 yard period. Everybody is in there, and there's not a lot of room. So far, most of the passes both sides have made actually have been either backwards or square. Difficult to thread anything in a forward position, and of course that then means when they do go wide eventually to Bukayo Saka and to Gabriel Martinelli, got to get those one-on-ones going. They've got to be prepared to be nice and brave, those wingers, and take those fullbacks on.
Saliba playing it forward through the midfield here for Arsenal, who have been controlling possession. 7 minutes gone, still 0-0, and neither side has had anything like a chance up to this point. But Arsenal just laying a solid foundation here. Have got a good record away to Porto. The two sides have met 6 times in the Champions League. Arsenal have lost 2 out of 3 on this ground and drawn the other one. But they do have a winning record overall. Porto have never won in England. They've got a terrible record on British shores. 3 draws and 18 defeats in their 21 visits to England. A record that Arsenal will be anticipating will continue when the two sides meet in the second leg on March the 12th. We'll have the best coverage of that game for you on the Talksport network, of course. 8 minutes into this one, and still the guys just feeling their way into it, forcing Porto back. A lot of Arsenal's possession has been in the middle third. Pressure immediately applied on Ben White as the ball was worked in there. Nico Gonzalez has fouled him. And it's going to be a free kick inside the centre circle that will be taken by Arsenal, who have not dominated proceedings in a way in which they've created a huge amount, but they are, as I mentioned, just feeling their way into things really, and not allowing Porto a kick on their own ground until now. The free kick was presented by Saliba straight to Evan Nielsen. It's the second time that Arsenal have given Porto decent possession inside their own half. Nothing's coming of it.
No, just been a little careless once or twice. That miscommunication between Saliba and Declan Rice got Rice a yellow card. Saliba again there, just dropping one short. Gabriel miscontrolled one, rolled under his foot a few moments before that. Again, just need to just tighten up a little bit, Arsenal. No major panic.
Arsenal determined to play out from the back, do so very effectively, work it over halfway. Porto win it back, and then they get a free kick. It's Conceição, the player that was caught by Leandro Trossard. It's interesting the way that Arsenal work it with Trossard and Havertz, that at times in games they will switch over. Ostensibly it's Trossard by and large is playing through the middle and Havertz on the left of the midfield 3, but they can swap round.
But Trossard is comfortable enough, Jim, isn't he? If Havertz does make that forward run beyond him, Trossard's comfortable enough and sensible enough to drop in there and stay there. Some players, when you switch positions, some players immediately want to switch back and get back into their own slot, the one that they're most comfortable with. But Trossard's adept at playing down the middle, or he can play as a midfielder.
Now the ball is worked over the top, and it'll be chased down the left-hand touchline, put out of play by David Raya. He's got a sprint to get back. They've got the multi-ball system for very quickly taken throw, but Arsenal are able to mop up on the back of that on the edge of their own penalty area and get it away. But it was a good ball, hit down the left-hand touchline, got past the Arsenal back line. Raya came out and swept up. The problem was he booted it back into Rosette. That, these days, is completely irrelevant because you've got a ball boy who just throws the chasing winger another ball very quickly, and the resulting throw is almost instant.
Yeah, very true. Now he cleared his lines, the goalkeeper, he mopped it all up, and you're absolutely right, there's a little 10-year-old standing there with the ball under his arm, and he immediately gives it to a Porto player, and the goalie's sprinting back to get between the sticks.
No harm done though from an Arsenal perspective. We're 11 minutes in. Arsenal coming into this in wonderful form. They had that dodgy run that blighted Christmas, but went warm weather training in Dubai. Since they've come back from that, won 5 out of 5, scored 21 and conceded just 2. It's really galvanised their season. Worked themselves back right at the thick of the title race, and perfect preparation for these knockout games against Porto as well. And they've been playing their best football of the season.
They have. Do you know, it's lovely that they went away on a nice mid-season break, and their form's been brilliant. Because if you go away on a mid-season break, come back and lose 5 on the spin, they don't take you again.
No. They'll be trying to book the next one as quickly as they can. The way things are going at the moment. Got some defending to do here though. Galeno with a long throw inside the penalty area. Pepe was forward for it. Well headed away by Gabriel, and then Saka turns it clear from the right-hand edge of his own penalty area. That's the Porto goalkeeper who's got to come a long way outside the penalty area. Diogo Costa, he's able to mop up easily enough. Long ball fall from him is headed away by Ben White and brought down by Otavio at the heart of the Porto defence. So just slowing things down. Ødegaard paying lip service at putting him under a little bit of pressure, but Otavio able to easily find his goalkeeper. And now build from the back again, Porto, with 12 gone at 0-0 in this first one.
Haven't really seen either forward line yet with any real chance to exercise a bit of influence on this game. It's all been played pretty much with both defences with the ball in their own halves, and both sets of midfield players just trying to keep it. 3 or 4 passes, and every time it goes forward, it breaks down.
Declan Rice has done well to win it back, and he's then fouled by the retreating Chico Conceição. Actually, a bit of a railer that just got the last touch on Rice, but it is a free kick to Arsenal. Still Luton leading at Liverpool by a goal to 0 in our live Premier League game over on Talksport right now. Chido Obeni goal after a Taith Chong cross. The difference between the two sides there. Arsenal possession inside the centre circle with Trossard has dropped quite deep, and he will now turn and make a run for Bukayo Saka. Ball worked out instead towards Martin Ødegaard. And he's worked it through the midfield out towards the left-hand side for Kivior. Kivior to Declan Rice. Ødegaard then dropping deep, wanting the return ball and getting it. Just teases it to his right along the halfway line, where it's tucked forward by Rice. Out towards Saka. Ødegaard again, widening space on the Arsenal right, but they've worked it through the more congested central tranche of the field. Down towards Rice. Now the switch of play down towards Ben White, and the left back Wendell goes across to try and cover his run. Porto can win it back. Rice having to make sure that he didn't miss time a challenge on top goal scorer Evan Nielsen. Havertz is there with this nonchalant gait that he has, and just plays it down towards Kivior and out now towards Gabriel Martinelli. 14 minutes gone. Porto 0, Arsenal 0. And alongside me, the former Ireland captain Andy Townsend.
Yeah, not a lot of room for Leandro Trossard or Kai Havertz, even Martin Ødegaard to operate in. That Porto back 4, as soon as Arsenal have the ball in their own half, it's squeezing up, it's condensing that space just in front of them. So it's not easy at the moment for Arsenal. Still early stages of the game. Both teams battling for a little bit of supremacy with the ball. Both had a little bit of it without really creating anything significant. Arsenal looking a little bit more assured in possession now, but again, just finding it difficult to get those key players involved. Ødegaard on the half turn, or getting out indeed to Saka or Martinelli, so as they can maybe just set those fullbacks up and have a go at them.
Now, one other Champions League tie tonight, incidentally. It's still 0-0 in the early stages between Napoli and Barcelona, with Martinelli in space for Kai Havertz now out towards the left-hand touchline for Arsenal. Havertz getting it back, played to Declan Rice. Rice to Ødegaard, and just trying to take the ball on the half-turn and was fouled. Pepe very quickly on the scene. Quick to perpetrate a foul on Martin Ødegaard. It's a free kick to the Gunners. Not quite a shooting position because of the angle, but in terms of how far it is outside the penalty area, it's pretty good. It's about 7-8 yards outside the box, but over on the left-hand side. Pepe just catching Ødegaard on the top of the left boot.
I bet that happened a few times in training at Real Madrid as well, wouldn't it? Pepe and Martin Ødegaard. Would they have been together, Jim, there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every chance, wouldn't they?
Absolutely, they would have been, yeah.
Pepe strikes me as one of those centre-halves in training, always catch you on the top of your foot, catch you on your ankle, catch you on your shin.
You've got to play in training like you do on the field.
I always used to say in my centre-halves, can you boot 1 or 2 of the strikers we play against on the weekend rather than kicking us lot all week?
Arsenal got 5 standing over this free kick in a circle around the ball. Great invention on Arsenal's set pieces. Trossard's just having a word with Declan Rice. It's become a quartet now, and 2 of those 4 peel away. Arsenal now got a line of 4 in behind Porto's line of 6 defending, 12 yards from their goal line, including Gabriel, White and Kivior. Declan Rice raises his left arm above his head, comes towards the ball and then checks. Boos and whistles from the Porto fans for that. Now Rice hitting it in. Second time of asking. It's a push inside the penalty area on a Porto defender. It's punched clear by Diogo Costa anyway. And Arsenal's first of meaningful set pieces just fizzled out to nothing with 17 minutes in. It's 0-0.
Yeah, interesting that actually. Declan Rice is about 30 yards out, slight angle. as you say, Jim, 6 Porto players lining up right across the penalty spot, and Arsenal taking up effectively an offside position behind them. Unfortunately, just a little bit of pushing and shoving, and the referee gives a free kick to Porto, and the chance has gone.
Talio getting the ball forward. It's gone out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Arsenal right. It is half-time at Anfield, where Luton continue to lead. Haven't beaten Liverpool since 1991, when Ian Dowie got a couple in a 3-1 victory. But they lead tonight. It's live for you right now over on Talksport.
There's some result now.
Some result for Arsenal.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
It's music to Gunners fans' ears. The willing Luton to hold on there. Ødegaard finding Ben White. If you've got the Talksport app, you can easily swipe between the 2 games as well, just to hear all the consequential action from both of these matches. A rare Arsenal mistake with the crossfield ball that went behind Martinelli, goes out of play for a Porto throw, which they take over on the far touchline, and they'll work it back inside the penalty area for goalkeeper Diogo Costa. The Portuguese international has been their first choice since the start of last season. Declan Rice has given a free kick away for a foul on Nico Dominguez.
Yeah, and it looked actually like Declan Rice had pinched the ball there. It was a straight ball played into Nico Gonzalez. Declan Rice close to him, looks like he just pinches it back. Ødegaard immediately thinking I'm in, turns and runs towards the goal before the referee blows the whistle. Some innocuous fouls and challenges always get punished in Champions League football, and you have to live with that and accept it.
Now Porto with the first opportunity to run at the Arsenal back line. Conceição working it wide. João Mario inside the penalty area, trying to keep his feet as Kivior was in there to make a challenge. And the little stumble just saw him lose his momentum. Arsenal players very quickly surrounded him as he tried to make something happen. It flicked up off an Arsenal leg and looped in the penalty area for David Raya to come out and make a comfortable catch.
Yeah, just the first time, approaching 20 minutes, the first time that Porto picked the ball up in behind Declan Rice and were able to sprint in that 15-20 yards in front of the Arsenal back line. Little switch out to the right, João Mario, the fullback on the overlap, just doesn't sort his feet out, and again, chance goes missing. It's the only time so far that Arsenal have perhaps looked just a fraction vulnerable.
Well, they've only lost one of the last 10 games at Porto, and they are unbeaten on home soil in town. Barcelona won here in the group. In fact, Barcelona beat Porto home and away, but then finished level on points with Porto, and above them, courtesy of that head-to-head record, Porto won all 4 of the other games. They beat Antwerp and Shakhtar home and away. The Gunners making it through their group with 13 points from their 6 games, beaten in Lens. Not brilliant away from home in the Champions League group stage. Porto not brilliant away from home generally in the Champions League knockout stages throughout the course of their history. 0-0 this one, 20 minutes gone. And 0-0 clearly a better result for Arsenal than it will be for Porto. But Porto not in a position as yet where they've really got to gamble and push bodies forward. Might come later, depending on how the game unfolds. Here's Pepe Aquino, the Brazilian, making his way towards the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal have very quickly got bodies back goal side, including Ødegaard, who could stick out a right foot and steer the ball to temporary safety. It's going to come back from Otavio to find Pepe. Pepe's playing the 774th game of his club career today, and he can add another 130 to that in terms of internationals. He works it out towards the right-hand side. And a chance now for Conceição. Conceição, the manager's son. Decent ball in towards the near post. Right-footed volley. He's got back off the bar, and then somehow he's put wide. Oh, what a let-off for Arsenal. It's an extraordinary miss. It looked for all of the world as though Porto were going to be able to take the lead. Conceição working it out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area, and it was Wendell that was the player that did the damage. Nobody had picked him up, so he just broke to him about 8 yards out. He rattled one actually off the left-hand post, and he came back to him. He had an unguarded goal to try and lock the volley into on the rebound off the post, and he's dragged it wide of the far post. It's a massive let-off.
What a let-off. I mean, he hits it so hard from literally 7 yards out. Virtually middle of the goal. He smashes it on the half volley, and it cannons off the post, comes straight back to him, and on the volley acrobatically He then knocks it wide of the other post. An astonishing moment in the game. First time really they got in behind Arsenal there, and they very nearly got punished, the Gunners. They've just got to, just the next 5 minutes now, just try and settle things down, get that ball back at their feet, and just keep a bit of possession.
Well, it was the three on the right-hand side of the Arsenal back four who were all in a position, really, that they should have been able to deal with Galeno. And they couldn't. As it came back to him inside the penalty area, all he had to do was take a couple of steps back. The initial effort from about 8 yards. When he came back to him on the rebound, he was probably only 5 yards out. He only dragged it wide by about a foot or so, but it's a huge let-off. The first coming back off the post. And then, well, he's not even 5 yards. Seeing a replay, he's near 3 yards out.
3 yards out. And if he just hits his knee or hits his shin, he scores. But it's come back to him. He is off balance, obviously, because he hit the first effort so hard. He's off balance, but he's then tried to hit the second one like he hit the first. And he's hit it so hard and he's put it directly wide.
We have 4 goals in the group. 2 in each of the 2 wins against Shakhtar. And he should have given Porto the lead in this game. He's an Arsenal side whose defensive record has been outstanding recently. Only 2 goals conceded in the last 5 matches, whilst they've scored more than 20 at the other end. But that's a monumental let-off in a game in which goal-scoring opportunities have been at a real premium as well.
Just think Arsenal need to be a little careful. They're not too passive. I appreciate two-legged ties, completely different thought process. You know that you have time, you know that whatever happens this evening, it's not final, it's not conclusive. There's another 90 plus minutes to go through. But in the same token, you've got to make sure you're progressive. You've got to make sure you're looking forward. You are playing like they have been recently. Otherwise, if they go a little too passive, a little too square, a little too safe when they're keeping the ball, you can find yourself perhaps not being able to switch it on, not being able to turn it on and get out of that when you really need to. So just got to guard against being just a little too safe with the ball, Arsenal.
They're back in action, of course, on Saturday night. They take on Newcastle. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, and it's live and exclusive for you over on Talksport. Scott Minto and Sam Matterface talking through the action from North London. Saturday night, 8 o'clock kickoff, and it is live on Talksport. It's Martinelli plays it forward inside the penalty area. Wendell there to head it away. Ødegaard hooking it forward. Saka can bring it down, and then he himself is brought down by Wendell. Had his arms around the midriff of Saka and eased him to the floor. And this is a free kick level the edge of the penalty area for the Gunners. With 25 minutes in, it's 0-0, but Arsenal lucky to be on level terms after that bad miss.
Yeah, that's the first time that we've seen Martinelli set João Mario up and literally skip past him. Got to the byline, stood the cross up, nobody really in the box, and then Bukayo Saka on the other side of the field just draws the foul, which Martin Ødegaard now from this wide area looks like he's going to wing this in towards the penalty spot.
So this will be a left-footed in-swing. Declan Rice takes a lot of the set pieces on the Arsenal left. It's Ødegaard that usually takes them on the right. The Norwegian stands, addresses the ball, spits out some gum. Takes a couple of steps to the right-hand side of the ball, and now will work it in left-footed with a vicious swing in towards the near post, and a diving headed clearance comes from Varela to put it behind for the first corner of the night. Goes Arsenal's way.
Yeah, not the best delivery that from Martin Ødegaard. Didn't beat the first man, Varela, who heads it out. Actually should have headed it out for a throw. I think it looks like he's headed it out for a corner. Lots of pushing and shoving when those wide free kicks are coming in.
And the referee just wants a word before Saka takes this corner. Gabriel's made his way forward. Ben White stands in his customary position right on the toes of the goalkeeper. And the Dutch referee is finding it difficult to control and police what is going on inside that 6-yard box. White now is called over by the referee, who's having a word with him, and is telling him to desist what is going on between him and Alan Varela, the Argentinian midfielder. White nods and then goes back, and they start doing it all exactly the same as they were. Otavio trying to deal with Gabriel. Varela on White. Saliba in there causing a nuisance as well. Pepe Aquino is on Martinelli. Little push by Diogo Carlos. In he comes now from Saka, and it's well claimed by the goalkeeper. He got good swing on it, but just a little bit too close to the goalkeeper, who volleys it forward quickly. Well, he's trying to set up a leg race between Rice and Conceição, but the England man is able to easily pick that up at the back for Arsenal and get them going from the back again. We're 27 minutes in, Andy, at 0-0.
Yeah, Ben White there from those corners is trying to just disturb the goalkeeper from any of those wide free kicks, and it's going to be difficult to get away with that. You can tell already that the minute he stands anywhere near the goalkeeper, there's a full-scale pushing and shoving going on, and the referee's called Ben White over and had a word with him. Just be a little bit careful.
And we welcome listeners from Talksport. There it is, 0-0 with 27 minutes gone in this first leg of the round of 16 tie between Porto and Arsenal. And Arsenal have been the better team, but could easily have been behind, as the ball is swung inside the penalty area now and swept away by Nico Gonzalez. It's a night where goal-scoring opportunity's been at a real premium, but there was a miss of an open goal from 3 yards by Wenderson Galeno that really let Arsenal off the hook. The ball swept inside the penalty area from Conceição. Galeno peeling away, hit a right-footed volley which cannoned back off the left-hand post. He came back to him. He was the quickest to react, only 3 yards out. David Raya is struggling to get across, and he's inexplicably hooked it wide of the right-hand post, only by about 6 inches, but those 6 inches crucial as far as Arsenal were concerned, because it's kept the clean sheet intact, and that's been far and away the clearest opportunity that either side have had so far, Andy Townsend.
Yeah, it has, yeah. Lots of possession for Arsenal. They've had more of the ball. Again, without really finding that cutting edge, that incisive ball forward, or that brilliant bit of individual skill. Let's hope that Martinelli, the more he sees of the ball, we saw a little flash from him about 5 minutes ago where he picked the ball up one-on-one with João Mario, skipped past him, got to the byline, stood across him. Need more of that.
We just haven't really been able to get into those attacking positions. We haven't seen an awful lot of the kind of Saka down the right flank so far either. Just one yellow card so far, which came Declan Rice's way just past the minute mark. But they've been no undue concerns for Rice since then. Saka's got possession for the Gunners. It's about 5 yards inside Porto territory. He's worked it back for Saliba, and he in turn goes deeper still for Gabriel. And now out towards the left-hand side for Arsenal's Jakub Kiwior. And he too has been pushed, and it's a free kick that will be taken by Arsenal. We're playing half an hour. Live commentary continues on Talksport 2. If you've got the app, you can just swipe left, swipe right, keep abreast of all the action. It is Porto 0, Arsenal 0. And here's Declan Rice in possession here on Talksport 2. As the live commentary continues with Rice trying to play one down towards the right-hand side for Saka. But he's lost possession. Porto will try and work it forward with Varela looking for Evan Nilsson. He played it in behind him, and it goes through for David Raya. Yeah,
Evan Nilsson not really figured at all yet. Hasn't had any service. There was a chance for Varela there to just give him something to perhaps race onto. But at the moment, Gabriel and Saliba have very much got him in their sights and haven't really allowed the Porto striker to receive anything yet or look like getting involved.
So possession, Andy, up to this point 70-30 in Arsenal's favour as the away side, but 70% possession through half an hour and they haven't had a shot.
No, that's the difference. That's what you've got to do. It's all well and good, and that's not Arsenal, certainly not the Arsenal that we've seen of late. And it's so cutting edge. They've had so much of that recently. Tonight they're playing cautiously, sensibly, yes, but perhaps a little too conservatively, I think. I don't think this Porto team look that unbelievable. In the middle of the park, I'm not seeing players that are superior to Arsenal in possession of the ball. The numbers would tell you that. So I think Arsenal, if they're braver, I think they can start to create chances and make inroads into the heart of this Porto defence.
So how do you go about being braver in this kind of position? Is it a mindset? Is it just a question of playing a little bit further up the field?
Yeah, I think a bit of all of that. I do think that on their own patch in the Premier League, Arsenal, when they get the ball in the middle of the park, they're looking for a couple of passes. Can they go forward? Can they get it wide? I think tonight so far it's been 3, 4, 5, 6 passes wide, go back to a centre-half, back to the goalie, out to a full-back, into a central midfield player, back to a centre-half, back to the full-back, back to the goalie, rather than looking to Odegaard, rather than looking into Trossard. Trossard's hardly had a kick of the ball so far, Jim. We've seen a little more from Saka and Martinelli the last 10 minutes, but Trossard and Kai Havertz rarely been involved so far. Can we get them involved? That's what you'd be looking, if you're Mikel Arteta, that's what you're looking for. Once you start getting those boys involved in little pockets, then they can start to construct their stuff.
That's Andy Townsend, the former Ireland captain, here on Talksport 2, as they do now have their first shot. Trossard on the edge of the penalty area, leaning back, ballooned it high over the goal into the crowd, and now to play for a goal kick that Diogo Carlos will take. Arsenal in their first Champions League campaign for 7 years. Remember, they've lost each of their last 7 Champions League ties at this stage. The last time that they won one was against Porto in the round of 16 back in 2010, where they didn't play well in the first leg at all, lost it by 2-1. Radamel Falcao with the winner after a defensive mistake. And it was Michael Sol Campbell had scored the Arsenal goal, and then a 5-0 victory with the Nicholas Bentner hat-trick in the second leg in North London. Turned it around with a plot. Now the Gunners will be able to get it forward. Here's a nice ball to try and find Martinelli, who's faced up by Pepe. He's got the chance to run at him. João Mario came back, and they doubled up on Martinelli for a while. The Gunners have maintained possession and switch it over to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Odegaard for Saka. Saka getting towards the byline, trying to check it back onto his left foot, trying to commit Wendell. He's stood it up onto the roof of the net via the top of the bar, but out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think the referee just blew his whistle there. That little cross that was deflected from Bukayo Saka. Wendell, the fullback, it just got to come off his toe, went looped out of play, but bounced back down on top of the crossbar. The referee blowing quite correctly, it's already gone out of play. Just a couple of chances there from Arsenal in terms of where they fed Martinelli a lot better. They fed him 40 or 50-yard pass, which gives him a chance to go one-on-one with that João Mario, the fullback.
34 gone on Talksport 2 at 0-0, and as Saka prepares to take this latest corner again, the Dutch referee is having a word with all of the chief protagonists of the pushing and shoving inside the 6-yard box. This time it's Martinelli that he's speaking to, and Pepe Aquino. And his body language is leaving nothing to the imagination, the referee. He's getting the message across quite firmly to the 2 number 11s that they're to stop with all the pushing and shoving, and they both completely ignore him, as you would. Saka raises right arm above his head, and one of the Porto players goes down, the header goes wide. And it just came towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It was Saliba leaning back, just couldn't quite get the contact that he wanted, and has feathered a cushion header wide when a more decisive touch might have caused problems.
Yeah, in swinging corner, everybody in and around the goalkeeper. Ben White making a nuisance of himself again. There is so much grabbing going on, honestly, in that box. There really is. I mean, it's incredibly difficult for the officials to spot that, but Arsenal are deliberately standing in and around the goalkeeper, and Porto doing everything they can to keep those players away from their goalie, and they're grabbing, they're pushing, they're pulling. Up to now, they're getting away with it.
I was like watching domino toppling inside that 6-yard box, because Varela, who wasn't watching the ball at all, he fell over, and in doing so fell into the legs of Otavio, his teammate. Otavio then has gone down, and that has allowed Saliba, who was being marked by Otavio, to get the header in. But they've got away with it. And that's Arsenal's best opportunity of the game so far. And it's not feisty necessarily, but it's niggly. It's
niggly. I just saw Sergio Conceição, the Porto coach, complaining to the fourth official about those corners and the Arsenal players that are pressurising the goalkeeper. You see there that who's that? Varela has gone down, I think, very easily. Gabriel Martinelli just gets his arm up to protect the ball. Varela goes flying to the floor. This is the sort of stuff that can happen in Champions League football. There is a dark arts to how teams try and negotiate some of these matches. And I think Arsenal just have to, that's one area that concerns me, that someone could fall foul of at some point tonight.
We're 36 minutes in, and it is Porto 0, Arsenal 0. Varela's okay, he's back on his feet, and he's going to take this free kick from inside his half of the centre circle. And Arsenal are keeping a high line 5 yards outside the box. It's not a direct delivery. It's just worked short for João Mario, the right back. Now out towards the right-hand side for Pepe Aquino's ball in that Gabriel can sweep high up in the air. It's won back then by Otavio, headed away by Havertz through the midfield. But Nico Gonzalez with an effort that takes a deflection. It's a rising drive. It's always like to clear the bar anyway, but it's taken a nick on its way over.
Yeah. Just a little too powerful there, Nico Gonzalez for Martin Odegaard. He's 25 yards out. A lot of traffic in front of him, and decides to have the shot. Just the slightest of deflections in front of him.
Porto have it. Now with 7.5 minutes from half-time. I think Arteta will be not frustrated with the level of performance. He will see that this is definitely a display that isn't as good as Arsenal's last two, and that there's clear room for improvement. And yeah, after the bit of luck that they had with the miss of the open goal from Galeno, been any other alarms at the back at all for Arteta, but he's standing there in his long black coat with his hands in his pockets, and he's patrolling. There's a little snarl on his face, and he's clearly not particularly happy with life at the moment.
No, I mean, look, again, as I mentioned before the game, there are periods in these matches where you're going to suffer, where you're going to find it difficult, where you've got to hang in there. Arsenal are pretty much in the main held themselves together quite well. They've dealt with everything that Porto have thrown at them. Just that one outstanding chance for Galeno. Should have scored, no question about that, but he didn't. And Arsenal have been tidier in possession than Porto, without really creating anything significant in the last third.
They have got a very good defensive record here, Porto. They're yet to concede on this ground this year. 5 clean sheets in a row at home since the goal was scored by Lechos in a League Cup tie. They've now played 565 minutes. That's nearly 9.5 hours of football on home soil without conceding since then. So it gives you an idea of the defensive line that Arsenal are trying to break down, albeit, of course, that Porto are playing this calibre of opposition every week. That goes without saying. And it is a Porto side that have struggled, 7 points off the top in the league. They've already dropped more points in the league campaign than they did the whole of last season. They've already lost more games than they did in the whole of last season. But they're on the front foot here with the prolific Evan Nielsen. And he's just worked it down the right-hand side of the penalty area for Pepe Aquino, and it's back, and Raya can get down at the near post and make a relatively comfortable save. Yeah. And his first thought is to get it forward quickly and try and get Kai Havertz going. Havertz, though, just a little bit sluggish receiving the ball. It does win a free kick, which will be taken about 15 yards inside his own half. Still 0-0. Yeah,
we just saw a nice bit of combination work, Evan Nielsen and Pepe Aquino, which resulted in Evan Nielsen taking a strike from an acute angle, 12 yards out maybe, something like that. David Raya always able to comfortably deal with that one.
Just took a little nick off Declan Rice, but it didn't deviate the line of flight too much. And make it a more difficult one to save. 4.5 to go to the break. Live over on Talksport right now to all Liverpool, as you can imagine, in that game against Luton. They've had a penalty shout for a handball that wasn't given, and it's still 1-0 to Luton, and it continues live and exclusive to Talksport over on Talksport. Gabriel in possession, finding Ben White inside the centre circle. He's done well. Get it between the lines now for Martin Odegaard. Odegaard for Saka. Right-hand side of the penalty area. Red and white shirts getting forward as quickly as they can. Back he goes, though, for Odegaard. A little bit of momentum out of the attack. White fires it in, and it's come off the left-back window and out of play for a corner.
Yeah, I think brilliant play initially from Odegaard to pick that up just in that little gap in behind Porto's midfield. He rolled it out to Bukayo Saka. I just think the Arsenal wide man take him on. Take Wendell on and test him.
Has been a reluctance to do that so far. So corner number 3 for Arsenal. Is the referee going to have his hands full again? Porto defenders have certainly got their hands full. And it's the same matchups in there. Saka getting it in towards the near post. And it's just about repelled. It comes back out to him again. Motions to cross it with his left foot, brings it back onto his right and wins another corner off João Mario.
Every corner that Arsenal get, it's an in-swing and it's coming in under the bar, and it's testing the goalkeeper, it's testing his nerve, it's testing all of their discipline at the back. Porto, Arsenal got to be careful that they don't give away cheap free kicks and just grab anybody. Let Porto do all the grabbing and all the pushing and pulling.
So Saka preparing to take this one as well. It's going to be another left-footed in-swinging delivery. Very, very deep this time and nodded down at the far post and into the side netting. I think the whistle might already have gone. It looks like a battle scene down in the side of the 6-yard box. Porto have a player sitting on his backside in the goal. They had another one down in a similar position on the edge of the 6-yard box. And now they're slowly getting back to their feet after all the pushing and shoving, the bumping and barging that is going on, some of which is self-inflicted because there's so much going on in there. It's Havertz who was trying to get over the top, who put one of them on the deck, just leaning over him, Dominguez, and it is going to be a goal kick. Now an equaliser for Liverpool in that game against Luton. 11 minutes into the second half. Virgil van Dijk has tied it up. Liverpool 1, Luton 1. Over on Talksport. 1 apiece in that game. And Talksport's Adrian Durham's got details of the goal.
Yeah, Liverpool have been doing all the pressing at the start of this second half. They had a corner, fired into the middle. Virgil van Dijk, bullet, heads it home. Tommy Smith, 77 style. Liverpool 1, Luton 1.
And it continues live over on Talksport. We're 2 minutes from half-time in this game on Talksport 2. Porto 0, Arsenal 0 on a night where goals have been hard to come by everywhere, really. Napoli against Barcelona, also approaching half-time, is goalless. And the EFL Trophy playoff, or the semi-final in old money, between Bradford and Wycombe, is also 0-0, playing for the right to meet Peterborough in the Wembley final of that. That's goalless at the moment in West Yorkshire tonight. This one 0-0 with Arsenal beginning to have a little bit more ball. They've had plenty of the ball, but a little bit more of it in better areas as the half has gone on. But still, they haven't been able to get Saka and Martinelli quite involved as much as they'd like.
No, they haven't. And I think Porto are quite happy to be destructive when they need to. They're happy to make sure that Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli are fouled and are brought to the floor, and the game is stopped and interrupted before they get a chance to really start to flow. It's lacked any rhythm, this game, and it's mainly because I think Porto now realising that Arsenal are starting to just turn the screw a bit.
And here is Bukayo Saka right on cue. Little give and go on the edge of the area. Left-footed shot after getting the ball back from Trossard, which hit a Porto defender, and it's gone out of play for a throw off Galeno, which Ben White will take on the Arsenal right-hand side, with white sweatbands around his wrists and the heavily tattooed arms, just preparing to take this throw. It's a throw level with the edge of the penalty area in towards Odegaard, who will try and turn, gets to the byline. Has he won a corner? Yes, he has. Before to be taken, news of another goal at Anfield. Adrian Durham.
And there was another corner, and it's another goal for Liverpool, and Cody Gakpo has got it this time. And they've turned it around. 1-0 down at half-time. It's now Liverpool 2, Luton 1.
And 2 goals in, what, a couple of minutes or so there.
Similar goals by the looks as well.
Yeah, Arsenal fans will be deeply frustrated at that news. We're in 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half.
Another corner, Jim, and the referee having a word with Saliba, having a word with Ben White. The Porto players quick to remind the referee. They're not doing anything wrong, the Arsenal players, but the Porto defenders won't even let them stand close to the goalkeeper.
And the likes of Otavio just aren't watching the ball. They're not watching Saka, they're literally just watching the man. They've got their back to the corner quadrant from where this is going to be taken here by Saka. Ben White trying to get free. He ends up in the net. It's a header down and wide at the far post. And again, they went deep, trying to get Havertz onto it. Difficult chance, the speed that he was coming in. He's nodded it into the ground and into the side netting, and the resulting goal kick will be the last touch of the half. Yeah,
they're doing anything they can, Porto, to make sure that the referee is all over these corners. And actually, I don't think Arsenal are doing an awful lot wrong. Clearly, it's unnerving the Porto defenders, but every time there's a corner coming in, there's 3 or 4 blue shirts hitting the floor, arms going up in the air. And the referee, of course, is always tempted to blow his whistle.
So Diogo Carlos has spotted the ball down and hits it forward right-footed, and sure enough, that is the last action of this first half. It could have been better from an Arsenal perspective. They've had plenty of possession, but not too many opportunities. Certainly could have been worse, because the clearest chance of the night fell for Galeno, a right-footed effort that came back off the left-hand post, and as it came back to him, he inexplicably volleyed the rebound wide from 3 yards. Half-time, it's Porto 0, Arsenal 0.
I'm going to talk about the first half for that goalless draw at half-time in just a moment, but let me just recap what's happened here at Anfield. Luton were 1-0 up, and Liverpool missing chances left, right and centre in the first half. They didn't look comfortable at all without Salah, Jota and Nunez. None of them available tonight, not one of them on the bench, and Luton led at half-time, but it's double Dutch in the second half, because Virgil van Dijk and Cody Gakpo, 2 goals in a couple of minutes, both fashioned from the right-hand side as far as Liverpool are concerned. And Kaminski in the Luton goal has saved twice with his feet as well. It could have been even worse for Luton. And the big change has been Lokonga's had to go off at half-time, replaced by Peli Mpanzu. And I tell you what, it's made a massive difference to this Luton side. Without him, they look like they haven't got that anchor in midfield. He was brilliant first half, had to go off at half-time, and Liverpool have seized control of a game they were losing, and they were searching for some sort of rhythm in that first half as well. They turned it around. Liverpool 2, Luton 1. So not good news for Arsenal. I think 0-0 Andy Townsend at half-time is decent news for Arsenal. If we go back to that chance that Galeno had, smashing the ball against the post, and then the rebounds come to him really quickly.
Yeah.
And he's had to get something on it, and he has, but he's fired it just wide, when for all the world it looked like he was going to score.
Yeah, exactly right, Ada. I think the initial chance, he improvised really well. He hit that beautifully on the half volley from 7 or 8 yards out. He just lost his marker, just had a yard of space in the box. Hit it so hard, it thumps the post, comes straight back to him, 100 miles an hour. And before he's almost got a chance to adjust his feet, he's having to try and improvise and hit it again. And he hits it wide, when it was easier, really, to knock that one in the back of the net. But that aside, Arsenal have been comfortable. They've had more of the ball, but they need to find their cutting edge. The cutting edge comes with Martinelli, and it comes with Saka. Those 2 guys have been reasonably well marshalled up to now, as ever. Once we get to 50, 60 minutes in the game, there'll be a little bit more room. Can Arsenal maximise, take the most of that?
Saliba's header, the closest really that Arsenal have come, isn't it? And I suppose, listen, we're saying that they could get a bit more of a cutting edge, they could be sharper in attack. 0-0 away at Porto first leg is a decent result, right?
It certainly is. There is no doubt that if you keep a clean sheet away from home, and of course the rules are slightly different nowadays than what they were in previous years, but that's nonetheless, doesn't matter. If Arsenal come away tonight having not conceded, all right, not being at their best in front of goal, that's good enough. They'll fancy their chances very much at home. So, but again, 45 minutes of concentration, of discipline still to come. We've seen what happens on those corners, Aid. I don't know if you've been able to see it on your monitors.
Yes, I have, yeah.
You know, the Arsenal are winging everything in under the bar, winding everything in with pace, right under the crossbar. Ben White's trying to stand around the goalkeeper. Saliba's not far out of the picture. Pepe is flapping his arms and he's screaming and hollering, hitting the floor, as you can imagine, as per usual. And they're kind of getting away with it. So we'll see how they develop, whether that develops into anything more. But at the moment, it's pretty even, this match.
That's one interpretation of what's happening at corners, and I don't disagree with it. Ben White isn't doing nothing, though, is he? He is busy in himself. He's getting physical. He's not even looking at the ball sometimes. He's just totally focusing on an opponent to disrupt things in and around the goalkeeper. There are some referees who would give, albeit a soft free kick, they would give a free kick for that. And I mean, is that really a football tactic, having a player there trying to disrupt the goalkeeper when he's not even looking at the ball?
He's trying to, what Ben White's trying to do is get himself between the goalkeeper and the guy that's marking Ben White, Varela. I don't think actually, I mean, Ben realises that he's got his hands in the air at every corner that comes in. He's holding his hands up as if to say, referee, I'm not grabbing anyone, I'm not touching anyone, I'm not pushing anyone. He is entitled to move around the box. He is entitled to try and get in front of the goalkeeper. That's what he wants to do. But Varela is the one that's doing all the grabbing, he's doing all the pulling, which is why Ben White's trying to keep on the move. So, you know, I actually don't think Arsenal are doing a lot wrong there. Ben White is purely trying to be a nuisance. He's entitled to be a nuisance. Now, if he starts using his arms, if he starts pulling people out of the way, he's going to give away cheap free kicks. They're going to hit the floor, they're going to go down every time. They've just got to be careful, Arsenal. They don't get involved in anything unnecessary because, again, Pepe's been winding people up, for 10, 15 years in Champions League football, and he's very, very good at it. He knows how to play. He knows how to play these situations with referees very well.
Well, he crunched Odegaard's ankle halfway through the first half.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that was a shock. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were together at Real Madrid. And he picked him up, didn't he? That's the key, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
He's crunched his ankle and then, oh, no, sorry, I didn't mean it. And he's picked him up and referees fall for it. Talking of which, Rice getting booked. I think they timed it at 73 seconds for a foul on Galeno. And I was just wondering, if it was on anybody else, I wouldn't have thought about it. But because Galeno is the danger man for Porto, I wonder if the brief has been for somebody in the Arsenal team to stick one on Galeno early on, and Rice did that but got a yellow. Yeah, he did. They actually had good possession of the ball, to be perfectly honest with you, and they wasted that, Arsenal. They wasted that chance, and Declan Rice committed to the challenge, caught Galeno, he's on a yellow card. He's played quite sensibly and quite efficiently since that point. And again, when and if Porto counter, Declan's got to be very assured with his interceptions now and any of his challenges. If he puts 1 foot out of place, he'll get another yellow and a subsequent red. And I can imagine Porto might target that in the second half. We shall see. Second half coming up live here on Talksport 2 right now here at Anfield's. Live on Talksport, live and exclusive on Talksport. Luton have just wasted a corner. It didn't even get past the first man. They were leading at half-time. It was great news for Arsenal. And then 10 minutes into the second half, and Liverpool have turned it right around. Liverpool 2, Luton 1. Van Dijk and Gakpo with the goals that have put Liverpool in front. That's on Talksport. Here on Talksport 2, goalless, Porto 0, Arsenal 0.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL. Hear the biggest sports stories first and fast with the Back Page Review on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Listen to Talksport Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 for the latest breaking Back Page news, plus unbeatable reaction, opinion and comment. The Back Page Review on Talksport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Join Tesco Mobile and get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. Tesco Mobile, every little helps. For applicable terms and verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Welcome to Capri FC Station. The next train to depart will be the Win a Weekend in Their Boots service, calling at Arsenal, Chelsea, Leeds, Man United and Spurs. We'll be offering a full onboard service of VIP match tickets, luxury hotel stays and much more. Grab a pack to enter for your chance to win. Thank you for travelling with Capri FC. T's and C's apply. Visit winnerweekend.capri.co.uk.
Drive to Survive is back.
To be a Formula One driver, you need to be able to switch yourself off from everything that is happening around you.
Is he ready? Physically, mentally? Your position is under threat.
When you get into that car, the noise goes away.
Formula One Drive to Survive returns February 23rd, only on Netflix.
Half-term is here, and so is a Happy Meal for just $1.99. Consider afternoon playdates, post-swimming cravings and sofa movie marathons sorted. Exclusively available in the McDonald's app until the 25th of February. 18 plus, app only. One-time use daily. Ends 25th of February. Participating restaurants only. Subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
Whoa! Vauxhall are having a special event from the 14th to the 29th of February with an extra £500 saving on petrol cars.
Really? What about electric?
Wow! An extra £2,000 allowance on electric cars with 4.9% APR representative.
Including new Corsa?
Yes.
Astra?
Yes.
Mocha?
Yes.
Hey, where are you going?
Vauxhall retailer. See ya.
Electric allowance on PCP only, subject to status, T&Cs and availability. Stellantis Financial Services. At the end, there are 3 options. Part exchange, pay to own vehicle or return it.
At B&Q and TradePoint, get 3 for 2 on selected coloured emulsion and paint mixing. With brands like Dulux and Valspar, whatever the surface or space, we've got you covered for less. Shop in-store or online. You can do it. Exclusions apply. The value of every 3rd item per single transaction in descending price order deducted ends 26th of February. See DIY.com.
DAB+, online, via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker.
Oh, what a finish! The Champions League live on Talksport 2.
And we're coming to you live from Anfield, where Liverpool lead Luton by 2-1. They're going to extend their lead at the top of the Premier League table to 4 points as it stands. And it's been a brilliant game. It's live on Talksport right now. First half saw Luis Diaz miss an absolute ton of chances, at least one of which he should have scored. Chidozie Ogbene for Luton on 12 minutes headed home his only chance of the half, and Luton led at the break. Lokonga had to go off for Luton, injured at half-time, and Liverpool came out fired up. From the right-hand side, they got 2 crosses in. Virgil van Dijk headed home the first from a corner. Gakpo headed home the second, and they turned it around. 2 goals in 2 minutes. Since then, Conor Bradley's gone off, so Robertson on at left-back. Gomez goes to right-back. Conor Bradley got a standing ovation. He's exceptional. He's going to play for England sooner rather than later, I reckon. The Luton keeper, Kaminski, has made a couple of saves with his feet as well. It's been pretty much all Liverpool, and Diaz is clean through here. Could he make it 3? Yes, he does. He makes it 3. Live on Talksport 2, Luis Diaz just waltzed around the Luton defender, found himself in front of goal. Kaminski completely helpless, and Diaz has smashed it into the back of the net, and Liverpool are going 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, and Anfield erupts. Liverpool 3, Luton 1. Luis Diaz finally scores one of his many chances he has had here this evening. This game live over on Talksport. Second half coming up in the Champions League. Porto 0, Arsenal 0. The cricket returns as well. The 4th test on Talksport 2, Friday early hours, 3:30 a.m. It's live and exclusive. You can also watch it on the Talksport Cricket YouTube channel as well. Bazball is under fire with England 2-1 down in the series and losing the last test heavily. Steve Harmison's covering the cricket for us. He's also our Newcastle reporter. And on our cricket coverage, commentator Neil Manthorpe asked Harmy if this Bazball England reminded him of Kevin Keegan's old Newcastle side.
I really hope that's not the case. I hope that they do shut the back door every now and again. But unfortunately, for Kevin Keegan's team, he didn't know, where the door was, or the hinges used to get blown off sometimes when you talk to the defenders in that group. I think England need to learn. They need to learn to play that little bit smarter in certain situations. Not all the time, because this is great cricket. But I think in certain situations, that the element of recklessness sometimes comes in, and it costs them. There were times in that game where you can drive the series in your advantage here. And unfortunately, like the summer, that's when sometimes this outlook of cricket can be a little bit reckless and a little bit brainless.
Very interesting from the Double Ashes winner, Steve Harmison. I was listening to Talksport Breakfast very early this morning. Sam Ellard, one of our cricket reporters, was on, saying he loves it, doesn't want it to change. It's rejuvenated English cricket. They win more tests than they lose with it. Completely different view to Steve Harmison. Let's see how it goes in the 4th test, because England can't afford to lose it. 3:30 a.m. Friday, early hours, Talksport 2, the Talksport Cricket YouTube channel as well, and there's a daily following on podcast as well that you can listen to. You can find all the podcasts that we produce here at Talksport on the Talksport app. Just click on the podcasts and you'll find it there. Just a moment ago, Luton had a chance to get back into this game here at Anfield. Alfie Doughty, so brilliant this season on the left-hand side, found his way. He was clear, really, just had to get the ball into the middle. Kelleher came racing out, was in no man's land. He got it across somehow. Liverpool managed to bundle it clear with Jordan Clark lurking, ready to pounce for Luton Town. However, it stays Liverpool 3, Luton 1 in the Premier League, and this game is live over on Talksport right now. Waiting for the players to come out in the drag hour. It is Porto 0, Arsenal 0. Andy Townsend, very quickly, if you're Arteta, do you change anything?
I don't think you change anything now, Aid. I don't think so. Haven't seen a lot of Leandro Trossard, to be fair, in that advanced position. Haven't really seen anything much of him. Is it a night maybe for someone like Eddie Nketiah, who, if something happens to land for him in the box, maybe there might be some sort of thought process. But I think at the moment for Arsenal, it's, as I said, keep the shape, remain very disciplined. The game's not spiralling out of control, far from it, but it's a little niggly. And I could see Porto using whatever tactic they possibly can, Aid, to try and ruffle Arsenal's feathers and to maybe try and change the course and the direction of this game. I think Arsenal have it in their capabilities to win this tonight. Most certainly they'll be really disappointed from what I've seen if they leave without something.
You just sense, don't you, with what's been going on at the corners, Pepe on Odegaard, with Rice on Galeno as well, something involving the referee might just happen in this second half. Yeah,
I just said to Jim, where you have to keep your discipline is if someone's getting in your face and you just raise an arm and it might even brush their face or brush across them, etc., they'll go down, they'll hit the floor and they'll hold their face. And in Champions League football, in European football, we've seen it so many times, referees will give those sort of decisions. They will send people off for something that looks like next to nothing.
Well, we'll see if that happens in this second half. It's Porto 0, Arsenal 0. Reminder, Liverpool 3, Luton 1 is live on Talksport right now, but here on Talksport 2, here's the second half for the Gunners with Andy Townsend and Jim Proudfoot.
Adrian, thank you very much indeed. So 0-0, and so far so good-ish as far as Arsenal are concerned. Hasn't been exceptional. There hasn't been the flamboyant performance that we've seen over the last couple of games away from home in the Premier League on this return to Champions League knockout football after such a long hiatus. Plenty of time yet for Arsenal to be able to turn the screw. It's only the first of the 4 halves, of course, of this two-legged tie, and Arsenal have got through it unscathed, thanks primarily to that Galeno miss. But the longer the half went on, the better Arsenal got slowly warming to their task. They've been back out for the second half for a while. Porto only just coming back out now. Arsenal lining up Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Kivior, Odegaard, Rice and Havertz, Saka, Trossard and Martinelli. At the Gunners bench, Smith Rowe and Nketiah, Cedric, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, Nelson, El Neni, Waneri, youngsters Sweet and Heaven, and keepers Ramsdale and Carl Hine. At Porto, Diogo Costa in goal, João Mario, Pepe, Otavio and Wendell, Varela and Nico Gonzalez, Conceição, Pepe Aquino and Galeno, and Evan Nielsen up front with the one-time Reading striker, Danny Namaso, who in his Reading days was known as Danny Loader, on the bench. As to the referee, who's only booked Declan Rice so far, just waiting for the signal from the television floor managers to get this game back underway. Arsenal in their traditional red and white, Porto in their traditional blue and white striped shirts. Porto are man light at the moment. Yeah, they are. That's why there was the delay. It's Chico Conceição who is out late. And his dad looks on, not so much as a concerned parent, but as a concerned coach, hoping that his side will be able to make the most of chances that come their way in the second half. We are back underway. Sergio Conceição in his 6th season in charge of Porto, who won the European Cup Winners' Cup under Sven-Göran Eriksson back in his Lazio days 25 seasons ago. The final was played at Villa Park, you might remember. The ball out towards Gabriel Martinelli on the Arsenal left. They're on the front foot from the off at the beginning of this second half. And they ended the first half strongly. 5 corners that caused problems for the Porto back line. Will they be able to get themselves into similar positions early in this second half? Not from this first phase of play, they won't, because as the ball is thrown forward down the left-hand side, the whistle has immediately gone to the referee's mouth. He's given a Porto free kick in the right-back position with 50 seconds into the second period, and it's 0-0. Here's Andy Townsend.
Yeah, look, Porto, no doubt, will have watched Arsenal. They've had them watched a lot lately. And the reports coming back will have been, don't give them too much room to play. If you do, if you encourage them to come forward, they will, and they've got people that can score goals. So, understandably, Porto are breaking the game up every chance they get. They're doing it again right now. Evan Nielsen has hit the floor, and he's not too quick to get back up. And he's not the first one to do that. From those wide free kicks, every time they're hitting the floor, they're going down, they're trying to affect the referee. And again, Porto must remember, this is their best chance of getting through this tie, what they do this evening here. And at the moment, I think they're more concerned with disrupting the flow of the game rather than trying to go and create something significant themselves.
Yeah, they are unbeaten at home in 10. That was since Estoril won on this ground back in early November, and they've won 9 of those as well. With a very solid defensive record that we touched upon in the first half. But at some stage, Conceição has got to start getting his players to be more proactive, because, as you say, if they don't win this, and all the word in the Portuguese press was this morning that this was a must-win first leg. If they don't garner a first leg advantage, their away form has historically been so poor, particularly in Britain, that I don't think any Porto fan would really give them a chance of being able to turn things around if they were to not garner a first leg lead here. So at some stage they're going to have to come out and be a little bit more proactive, but it's just a dichotomy for the coach to work out when that should be.
Yeah, the game has lacked any real flow. It's not really been given a chance to, Jim. Again, the referee has blown the whistle seemingly every few seconds. Someone's going down and the whistle's being blown. You'd like to see the referee maybe just urge one or two players to get back up off the floor and get on with things.
One goalkeeper finds another as it's punted for by Diogo Costa, goes all the way through for David Raya, who's in his first Champions League campaign. Here's Gabriel, who isn't. He's one of the few that isn't. He's played in this competition for Lille in the past before he signed for Arsenal, but he's not played in the knockout stages before. Forward from Saliba, now towards Bukayo Saka, who hastily retreats inside his own half.
Been very tightly marked, Bukayo Saka. If he receives the ball to feet, Wendell, the fullback, is out to him very quickly and forcing him backwards. Same for Martinelli. Once I think he got past João Mario in the first 45 minutes, but those two Arsenal wide men that are so devastating week in, week out in the Premier League at the moment are not having any room at all to really influence the game.
Saka going into this one, and he scored in his last 2 Champions League ties. He's also got 2 goals in each of his last 2 appearances in those 2 big Premier League wins. 6 in 4 for Saka in all competitions coming into this game. They haven't created a chance for him tonight so far. 4 minutes gone in the second half here on Talksport 2. Arsenal back in action Saturday night at home to Newcastle. You'll hear it on Talksport. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, and we'll be there with you every kick of the way. Saliba stumbling as he angles a long right-footed ball over the top. She's headed down. Rice comes to meet it in the midfield. It's come off him last and goes actually into the Arsenal dugout for a throw which will be taken by Porto, by João Mario, who just threw it straight to Martinelli. Oh. Martinelli hooked it forward, couldn't find Trossard, and Porto get away with it.
Yeah, not sure exactly what João Mario was thinking there at all.
I know what he was thinking about a second after he did it, but yeah, I don't know what he was thinking of at the time. Arsenal themselves have a throw, but it's much deeper. Actually back on halfway is Ben White in his yellow boots. He just waits for a little bit of movement ahead of him. The consternation on his face as he is given the hurry up by the referee. Throws it down for Declan Rice, who hooks it forward right-footed, just towards the edge of the penalty area. Otavio, the rookie centre-half, gets it away. Helped further clear, but only as far as Martin Ødegaard. Ødegaard, Havertz stretching out a long left leg to bring the ball under control. Kivior down towards Martinelli, who had time to rescue a slightly mishit pass. He's gone back for the Polish international again. Trossard very busy, buzzing around, just tries to get himself involved in the midfield between the lines, but his ball forward for Martinelli left a bit to be desired. Now Porto might be able to break, and they'll get it forward here for Pepe Aquino, but as soon as he had it, Declan Rice very quickly came back. Brilliant. And nabbed it for Arsenal. It was quality defending.
Great play, really good defending. Declan Rice again didn't commit to the challenge. Will be very mindful, being on a yellow card himself. Excellent defensive work.
That remains Napoli 0, Barcelona 0 in the other Champions League game taking place tonight. And Bradford 0, Wickham 0 in the early stages of the EFL Trophy playoff. 3-1 to Liverpool over on Talksport with 7 minutes to go. That will take them 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League, albeit having played an extra game. This, of course, is the game that they're should have been playing this weekend in the league. Now Martinelli has been pulled down. It's got to be a yellow card for Conceição as Martinelli outpaced him. Conceição had a grab of the number 11 on the back of his shirt and hauled him to the ground.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Shame that, actually, because Martinelli was away from the halfway line, sprinting towards the corner flag, but had got away from those blue shirts that were trying to pressurise him until Conceição just grabbed him round the waist. Knows he's going to get a yellow card, happy to do so, to just deny the Arsenal man the chance to counter.
Haven't been too many father and sons who have been involved in the same game in the Champions League. Johan and Jordi Cruyff back in the day. Now Sergio and Francisco, Chico as he's known, Conceição, a young winger who's come back to Porto, having gone to Ajax where he hasn't really made the grade yet. Ball inside the penalty area from this free kick from Ødegaard. It's headed back to him, and Ødegaard comes back inside his own half to sweep it back to Saliba, and that allows Porto the opportunity to push their defensive line forward within 5-6 yards of halfway. Raya now sees the big gap in behind it, tries to play one over the top. Havertz came to meet it, got nothing on it. That worked well for Arsenal because it falls through for Martinelli. Martinelli driving towards the edge of the area. It's a great body swerve, then fired it in left foot and it was headed away. Two Porto players go for the same ball. Ødegaard with a volley that ricochets off Otavio. João Mario clears that, but Arsenal will be able to come again and bring it forward towards the edge of the penalty area with Trossard. And all of a sudden, a little injection of tempo for the Gunners.
Absolutely right. Here they come again. Bukayo Saka on the right side, cutting infield on that left foot.
And he's got Trossard for support, but he's laid it slightly further back for Kivior. Kivior to Havertz. Havertz taking it on the half turn. Martinelli again. Chance for him to run at the full back, and in doing so has lost his balance and shanked across with his left foot straight out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, that's a shame. That little passage of play comes to an end, but that was good pressure from Arsenal there. They managed to recycle the ball a couple of times. Ødegaard with a shot from the edge of the box that was blocked, but just for a moment there, Porto looked a little bit ragged and a little bit unsettled by that constant Arsenal pressure.
They've got it again at the back with vastly experienced Pepe. He's only won this competition once in his illustrious career. That was in 2016 as Real Madrid completed a hat-trick of Champions League triumphs. Porto on the front foot again now, right-hand side of the penalty. There's a little back heel flick from Pepe Aquino, which stood no chance of getting to Conceição. He hit it briskly at the wrong angle. I don't know why he didn't take it on himself.
Exactly what his coach is saying to him. His coach is saying, hit it when you get there. You're in the box. You're in the box, you're on the move, you're travelling with the ball. You've got the chance to get a shot away, albeit from an angle. Instead of that, he tries a back heel that's never finding the target, and the chance goes missing. And those Porto attacks have been few and far between, let's be honest. They've rarely got into Arsenal territory with any intent. That was one little moment there where they had a chance to work the goalie.
He's one of Brazil's newest internationals, Pepe Aquino. He's just won the one cap for his country, which came as a substitute back in November. Scored against Barcelona in the group stage. Might have done more there. Martinelli at the other end. Havertz, he's won a corner. Now, it's taken 10 minutes for Arsenal to get one in this second half. They had 5 without reply in the first. And these areas, something that Porto habitually have struggled from. Now, Arsenal in the league game at West Ham recently, they had, from the corners from the left flank, which Declan Rice takes, they had a quintet of players. They all stood at the back post area on the right-hand side of the 6-yard box and then made varying runs in from there. So far today, all 5 corners, they've just flooded the 6-yard box and tried to get bodies in there, making life difficult for the goalkeeper. That's what they're doing again here. Rice going across towards the far post for Trossard, and he's volleyed it over the bar.
What a chance that is. Do you know, all the attention around the goalkeeper. So you're thinking Declan Rice is going to whip this under the crossbar. Instead of that, he fizzes one. Back post. Leandro Trossard has just peeled off into an area totally unmarked. 10 yards out, Jim, on the angle, something like that. On the volley, he has to hit it sweet, but should hit the target.
We'll come back to that in a moment. Arsenal have it again. Martinelli trying to get in. He can't get past the ageing Pepe. Pepe then with a really good ball forward down the inside right channel. It's picked up by Galeno. Galeno down to the middle right winger Conceição. Not as tall as his father, much more slightly built, but he's won a free kick here. And injection of pace too good for Kivior, who's booked.
He's just popped that through Kivior's legs there. He wouldn't have got the ball the other side. There was an Arsenal player there to pick the ball up. However, Conceição again just hitting the floor. Happy to do that. Draws the foul, gets the free kick, puts Kivior on a yellow card. Good play.
Just going back to those corners, it's like an England fast bowler Bowls outswinger, 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 then gets one to go the other way. Nobody's expecting it. And that's what Arsenal have done. The first 5 corners, all in-swingers into the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
Then you get one that's just a straight ball pinged on an angle. And nobody's expecting it. Space for Trossard, and he couldn't make the most of it. It was a really, really good chance. Very well worked. But the shot just not quite up to it. Now, what can Porto do from this set piece? It's like a short corner, really, only 3 yards outside the penalty area. Oh, it's a dreadful delivery, and that is shocking. It's a left-footed in-swinger from Galeno that is twice as hard as it needed to be and 6 feet too high, and it's just sailed away and out of play for a goal kick. And over on Talksport, Liverpool have just scored a 4th. I think it's Harvey Elliott that has got it. Liverpool 4, Luton 1, as the game is about to go into stoppage time. And after some nervy moments in the first half, Luton had a lead at the break, but Liverpool are going to beat them 4-1 as the game goes into stoppage time at Anfield. That's live for you. Last knockings of that over on Talksport. This one 0-0 as Arsenal take a throw down the left wings. It gone out of play for another corner. Not quite. Pepe with a defensive header that came in the nick of time to stop that happening. Now Conceição is going to be able to bring it away. He's checked back inside and Kivior won it, and then has given a free kick away for a foul on Pepe Aquino. Slightly angry reaction from him as well, which is ill-advised, bearing in mind he's just been booked. But it is going to be a free kick to Porto in their right-back position. Let's go to Anfield. News of that goal from Adrian Durham.
Yeah, 4-1 to Liverpool as we enter 8 minutes of added time here at Anfield. And the pleasing thing from Klopp's point of view is that Gakpo, Diaz and Elliott, the front three tonight in for Núñez, Jota and Salah, have all scored. Elliott on the score sheet, picked up a loose ball, rattled it into the back of the net, and Liverpool are home and dry, 4 points clear at the top. It's Liverpool 4, Luton 1.
And the deadlock broken in the other Champions League tie tonight as Barcelona lead in Naples 1-0. Robert Lewandowski's 18th of the season. Saka with a right-footed delivery right through the 6-yard box, bypasses everybody and goes out of play for a Porto throw. We've played an hour as near as makes no difference, and it's 0-0. Andy Townsend.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka there, just trying to go down the outside on Wendell, the fullback in front of him, and whip it in with his right foot, but lacked any real conviction, that cross, and nobody anywhere near it. Sails out the other side. Arsenal, when they start to up the tempo, Jim, they look like that they can unsettle this Porto team. To me, they really do. It's just that, again, look, there's a straight arm here. Is that Kai Havertz? Somebody's gone down.
Yeah, it is. It was Pepe Aquino that he caught, and the Brazilian is down, lying on his back with his right hand, firstly by his left eye, then making sure all his teeth are still there, and then it goes back to his left eye again. Havertz just gets spoken to by the referee, and it's going to be a yellow card.
Looks like it. Let's have another look at this. We're just seeing a replay here on our monitors. Pepe Aquino comes from the blind side on Kai Havertz. He doesn't really know he's there. He's just, again, the ball's in the air, it's coming out the sky. You lift your arms up to try and take it on your chest, get it back down on the floor. Pepe Aquino has run into the Arsenal man there. However, Kai Havertz gets a yellow card, and it's a picture of frustration as he walks away.
Pepe turning it back inside his penalty area. Played an hour, 0-0. Havertz, the third Arsenal player booked tonight, along with Rice and Kivior. Rice very early in the game, and Kivior just about 3-4 minutes ago. Conceição has been booked for Porto. Otavio getting it away, particularly effectively. Played forward by Saliba. Rice wins the seconds and does well to do so, getting away from Nico Gonzalez. Arsenal trying to work the ball into the feet of Saka, but it was cleared just before it got to him. And now Porto will try and break up the left flank. It's a nice little nutmeg of Declan Rice. Gonzalez will be able to bring it further forward, and Rice comes across and puts the ball out of play as the referee put whistle to mouth to give a free kick Porto's way. I think he has, but Rice has got to be careful that it was a touch cynical. It was cynical with a small C there, but he knew exactly what he was doing to break up the play, giving that free kick away.
Yeah, he used his shoulder to do so, kind of shoulder to shoulder, but just gave Evan Nilsson a little bit of a shove to send him to the ground and disrupt that chance of a counter-attack. Of course, the Porto bench, everyone up, appealing and trying to convince the referee, because Declan Rice is on a yellow. Lots of cards now being brandished, Jim, for both teams.
Yeah, so we've had 4 in about 5 minutes. Nico Gonzalez has just picked one up here. And that was for a challenge on Kai Havertz. It's his 6th of the season for the former Barcelona midfielder. He's not one of the Porto players who will miss the second leg through suspension if he's booked tonight. Like João Mario and Pepe Aquino, and then also substitute centre-half Fabio Cardoso. He's going to be walking the yellow card tightrope if and when he comes on. No sign of any Arsenal changes as yet, or indeed for Porto. 17 into the second half here on Talksport 2. And it remains Porto 0, Arsenal 0. And they're in the 5th minute of stoppage time at Anfield, where Liverpool lead Luton by 4 goals to 1. Conceição will bring the ball forward. And then quickly ran out of ideas. And Havertz had an easy job of winning it back. Conceição has stayed down injured. Rice brings it forward. Martinelli, he's nudged it one side of Pepe and then went the other. It was a great covering challenge by Alan Varela that came back and spared Pepe's blushes just to nick it away before Martinelli got the chance to get a shot in.
Just looked like Martinelli was going to get in there with a chance to get a shot away. 50 yards away from the action, Conceição has hit the floor and he lost the ball. Lost the ball and then just literally dropped to the floor, trying to get the ref to stop the game, and quite rightly the ref, not having anything to do with that, just allowed the game to go on.
He's still down injured though, and I thought it was completely innocuous, I must admit. We'll see a replay, I'm sure, in a moment, and I'm more than happy to be proved wrong. But it looked so innocuous when he went to ground. He just got caught by Havertz.
Nothing.
But there's nothing in that.
Nothing there whatsoever. He's just trying to stop the game. He's just hitting the floor. And again, he's been ordinary. I don't think there's anything, that unbelievable about any of these Porto players tonight. It'll only be concentration or something out the blue that can prevent Arsenal from certainly leaving Porto tonight with a point. I think they're capable of creating something significant themselves and getting a win here, Jim. I really do. But the game is disrupted all the time. It's a little bit fractious. That can make it difficult to find your best game.
Kivior taking the throw for Arsenal. Porto temporarily down to 10 men because of the fact that Conceição, having received treatment, has had to wait off the field for 30 seconds. Trossard's now given a free kick away. So Porto are going to delay this until Conceição comes back on. Pepe spots it down and will just allow Diogo, the goalkeeper, Diogo Costa, to come out and take this. So a reminder that Arsenal next in action against Newcastle Saturday night, and you can hear it on Talksport. And we've also got the Carabao Cup final on Sunday. Liverpool against Chelsea, and that live view as well on Talksport. 20 minutes into the second half of this one. Porto 0, Arsenal 0. The best coverage of the FA Cup next week with Saka making his way forward here for Arsenal. Been knocked away by Porto out towards the left-hand side. The chance for Galeno, he who missed that glorious chance in the first half, and he's making his way with real intent inside the penalty area. Saliba followed him every step of the way, forced him to try and take him on the outside, and then when he did so, he just stuck out a right foot and won it back. Excellent work from William Saliba, who is incredibly quick for such a big guy. Galeno running at him, gets him in the box, exactly the situation you want as a forward player, as a defender backpedaling in the box, but as soon as he pushes it past Saliba to try and get the shot away, the Arsenal man just drops it down a gear and then speeds past him and just mops it up beautifully. Really good work. Pepe down the right-hand touchline. Now João Mario, the right back, getting himself into advanced position. We haven't seen them get either full-back forward with any regularity at all, but they did on that occasion. Better delivery from João Mario might have caused a few problems. Has finished at Anfield. Liverpool 4, Luton 1. Inside the penalty area, play back towards the corner of the box, and Evan Nielsen with a right-footed effort. Has it taken a defensive block on its way? It is a goal-saving intervention if this hits an Arsenal player. Fantastic play by Pepe Aquino. And just as he got a right-footed effort in, Evan Nielsen looked up and saw that Declan Rice was on the scene in the nick of time. Yeah. And his deflection has spun it over the bar and out of play for a corner. Really good run, actually, from Pepe Aquino. Problem there for Arsenal was that because Kai Havertz is on a yellow card, dare not touch him.
And then once the little fella got into the box, then all of a sudden he's in business. He's running towards the near post, right along the byline, cuts it back, and Evan Nilsson's shot is deflected. Best spell they've had in the game, the last 5 minutes, the home team. They have just upped the ante. They've raised it a little bit. Now we see Mikel Arteta just in some dialogue with his staff, with members of his coaching staff, just wondering how they can maybe just shore things up a little bit. It's a problem having Declan Rice and Kai Havertz on yellow cards. That's a bit of an issue for him right now. He doesn't want one of those guys committing to a challenge and end up getting another yellow.
Raya playing out from the back and put under intense pressure. And it's gone out of play for a throw. Porto, after that brilliant Rice intervention, got a corner that they took really quickly and wasted, and just sailed all the way through the penalty area. Arsenal won it back, played it back for Raya, but as I say, he was put under immediate pressure, shanked his clearance away, goes out of play. Porto get it back and work it back to the edge of their own penalty area. It's a confirmation, Liverpool beating Luton by 4-1. Benny giving Luton the lead, but Van Dijk and Gakpo scored in the space of 2 minutes just before the hour mark to turn it around, and then Diaz and Elliott made it 4-1. That's the 8th time in all competitions this season that Liverpool have gone 1-0 down and come back to win, which is some record. They've done it 5 times in the league, and they're 4 points clear at the top of the table, but they played an extra game. Manchester City second behind them, Arsenal a further point adrift. Arsenal next in action, as I say, at home to Newcastle, live on Talksport on Saturday night. Aquino bringing it forward. Saliba with a stumble. The ball appeared to hit his arm. Porto appealing that they should have had a free kick either for a handball or for a foul on Pepe Aquino. They got neither of them.
Yeah, I actually think he should have got a foul there, Pepe Aquino. I think it's Martinelli who was a little unlucky. I beg your pardon, a little fortunate not to get pulled up for that challenge. He's tracking back, trying to help his team out. Clumsily brought Pepe Aquino to the floor.
Arsenal working it forward. It's too heavy a pass for Trossard. And he goes out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the Porto right. So we've got just over 20 minutes to go. You talked about Mikel Arteta being in the discussion with Albert Stauffenberg a few moments ago. You would expect that a change might be imminent. Arsenal have just got to protect what they've got and sit back and soak it up, but they do know that Porto are likely to be much more proactive in the next 20 minutes than any previous stage of the game, and with those two midfielders on yellows, they've got to make sure that they're ready for it.
Correct. It's the first time in the game, Jim, they've kind of energised their own fans, Porto, with some of their football. It's been pretty negative and pretty bland up to now, but the last 5-10 minutes they've shown more intent. Pepe Aquino in particular has been quite dangerous when he's picked the ball up. He's immediately looking to travel 10-15 yards into any space that's in front of him, and they just looked a better bet over the last 10 minutes.
Here's Evan Nilsson on the left-hand touchline, and Saliba has followed him every step deep into Porto's own half. Evan Nilsson is fouled. There's going to be a free kick which will be taken. Goes back to the goalkeeper. Pepe makes an angle for him. Pepe actually played against Arsenal in the group stage of this competition 17 seasons ago, back in the 2006-2007 campaign. A 0-0 draw and a 2-0 defeat for Pepe on those occasions. Now Ødegaard in trying to win the ball back from Otavio in the latter's box, who was judged to have fouled him. Didn't appear to be an awful lot in it. Ødegaard thought there was nothing in it at all. Otavio, just as the replay suggests, went to ground of his own volition, but the referee found in his favour. Arsenal quickly get it back, work it down towards Trossard. Trossard missing the control and tries to back it into Pepe and wins the throw down by the corner flag.
Yeah, he does that well actually there, Leandro Trossard. Just really only ever had scraps into him this evening, not really been able to pick up or do an awful lot.
Well, Jorginho's going to be coming on very shortly, which was the anticipated answer to this slight midfield conundrum that Arteta's got. So is it going to be Jorginho? I wonder for Havertz. We'll find out together in a moment whether Rice will stay or will push forward as an 8, and then Jorginho will sit as the defensive midfielder. That will be after this set piece. Arsenal again flooding the 6-yard box. Rice pinging it into that very congested area where the goalkeeper did well under duress to get a right fist to it and beat it outside the box. Clearance by the fullback gets towards halfway. Arsenal will recycle it and come again from deep.
Yeah, as you're right, Jim. Just as we see this attack, looks like it's going straight through to Diogo Costa in the Porto goal. But yeah, Jorginho stripped, ready to get going. I'd have thought it would be Kai Havertz as he's on that yellow card, and then I would have thought we'd see Rice and Jorginho sit. Odegaard can go free in front of them. I wouldn't be surprised to just see the two then sitting there in front of that Arsenal back four, making sure they take at least what they currently have.
Saka trying to get the better of Wendell, who shows him inside. Saka then releasing Ben White. White getting to the byline, right-footed ball in, and it hits the sliding defender, but goes out of play for Arsenal's 7th corner of the night, and they continue to be troublesome.
Yep, just seeing who's going to go out and whip this one in. If it's Odegaard, we know it's coming in under the bar. Time now for the change.
So Jorginho's going to come on, another Champions League winner. He was in the Chelsea side that won it in 2021 and actually beat Porto in the quarterfinals en route. And he's going to be coming on for Leandro Trossard.
Yeah, which will mean Kai Havertz will end up going up the middle now. Again, he's got to use his intelligence, make sure he doesn't get involved in anything silly, but he's going to play up the middle. Jorginho in there with Declan Rice and Odegaard to float and to be free and to just try and pick up a good area to try and create one really good situation.
On for his 45th Champions League appearance, many more than any of his teammates, with the exception of Havertz, who's about 10 behind him. Saka take this delivery, left-footed in, swinging, but the whistle had gone. It was a good ball in, actually. The whistle had gone just before he took it. And Diogo Carlos has gone down. And
looks like, yeah, he's got a little bit of a knock on his ankle there. I think someone might have just stood on his foot as that ball come in.
Yeah, it was Ben White, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ben White. I don't know if he meant to do that or if he was looking to just get around him, just get amongst him. No, I don't think it's deliberate at all. In fact, I don't think Ben White might have even been one of the goalkeeper's own players that did that.
Yeah, because Ben White appeared just to flick the goalkeeper's left ankle and he went down holding his right foot. So maybe the contact did come from one of his defenders on the other side. But the corner will now belatedly be taken. And it's going to be another left-footed in-swinging delivery from Saka. The goalkeeper coming out and has caught it really cleanly. Has done well and then bolts it out quickly. And Odegaard comes across, and that may well be a yellow card as well. Was Galeno blocked off? No, the referee says no foul. And he's going to give a throw to Arsenal rather than a free kick to Porto.
I actually thought that was a foul. I thought Galeno looked like there. He got to the ball first and pushed that past Martin Odegaard. I don't blame the Arsenal skipper for bumping into Galeno because he's their quickest player and he's their biggest threat. I do think he was a little fortunate to get away with that.
An equaliser in Naples for Napoli at home to Barcelona. Victor Osimhen's 9th of the season, cancelling out Lewandowski's 18th of the campaigns. Napoli 1, Barcelona 1. Still 0-0 between Bradford and Wycombe in the EFL Trophy playoff. Winners of that taking on Peterborough at Wembley. And still 0-0 between Porto and Arsenal. 15 minutes to go. Saka sweeping it forward. Brought down by Havertz in the number 9 role now. Jorginho can take over. Jorginho nudging it back. Referee's positioning actually did him no favours there, and he missed Declan Rice with the pass, and Porto can play through the midfield for a moment till the sliding challenge comes in from Jorginho to win it back. He's only got it back temporarily, but he did force Porto into a wide position and allowed Arsenal to regain their defensive shape behind the ball. It's gone back for Pepe. We've got 14 to go at 0-0.
That time of the game now, concentration. You know, legs start to get a little bit weary. Don't lunge, don't overstretch for things, making challenges. Make sure you stay nice and concentrated. The back four, make sure it's together in midfield. If it is Rice and Jorginho, which it looks like, make sure that they don't drift too far apart and people can play between them.
Kivior heading the ball away. Martinelli getting it forward through the midfield, but only as far as Gonzalez. Pepe with a little touch. And Varela can bring it under control. Down towards the right-hand side for Conceição, making good ground, but it's a really poor ball. has struggled tonight, Conceição.
Yeah.
He looks like a player who's really short on confidence and just missed Pepe Aquino with a pass by some distance.
Helps when your dad's the manager, doesn't it?
Well, yes and no. I would imagine it helps in that you probably get in, but I bet he's his stiffest critic, and he may well be tonight. 13 minutes to go, 0-0. Did you ever play for your dad at any stage?
No. Yes, I did actually. When I was about 7, for the Cubs. Do you remember the Cubs, Jim?
I do remember the Cubs. Yeah.
I was never a Boy Scout, but I was a Cub. And my dad run that team.
And did he give you grief?
Unsuccessfully, I think. Bless him.
It's Saliba. Play forward towards Jorginho. And for those that don't know, your dad a player of some repute.
Well, he did play. He played about 360 odd games, I think, in his career for Charlton and Crystal Palace. Yeah.
That's some repute. Here's Saliba. To his right-hand side for Declan Rice, and now down towards Jorginho. And we welcome listeners from Talksport with the news that it's still 0-0 with 12 minutes to go. Arsenal on the front foot here with Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Ødegaard turning it onto his left foot, then his right, back towards Saka, stretched. Couldn't bring the ball under immediate control. But he has got it now. Goes out towards the right-hand touchline and is faced up by Wendell, the full-back. Galeno there as well. Saka's got the ball past the pair of them. And down for Jorginho, who has come on to replace Leandro Trossard. The only change we've seen so far. Ødegaard on the right-hand side of the box. He won another corner, he has. This is Arsenal's 8th of the game. Andy Townsend watching the match alongside me. Arsenal corners have been a really dangerous area.
They have, although they haven't really got on the end of one of these corners with any real significance. Saliba got on the end of one first half, but had Otavio draped all over him and couldn't get any real power in the header. I wonder maybe if it's time to mix it up a little bit more. The last 2 or 3, the goalkeeper's claimed them with his hands. Ben White and Saliba are still standing right on top of the goalkeeper.
Well, they did have one where they played at a completely different angle and Trossard volleyed it over the bar. Saka with this one swept in, and the goalkeeper underneath it got fingers to it, but again the whistle went when the ball was in the air because of all the bumping and barging going on, and Wendell has gone down holding his ankle. It's a free kick to Porto.
I'd change that now, Wood. I think Arsenal have had plenty of corners. I'm not sure how many they've had now, Jim. They've had plenty of them, but yet to really, I think, do anything significant with anything. Maybe time for a few outswingers, mix it up a little bit.
So 10 minutes to go. Porto 0, Arsenal 0. He'll be quietly satisfied, won't he, Mikel Arteta?
Yeah, no, he will, because they had a 5-minute spell on the hour where it looked like all of a sudden they were going to go for it, that they were going to create a little bit of chaos, Porto, but that has dissipated, that's dwindled away. And in the main, Arsenal have been pretty comfortable. There's that one chance, of course, for Galeno in the first half where he should have scored. He was unlucky and then missed a sitter all within the space of about a split second. But that aside, there's not really been a serious threat from the home team. For a team that have been so good on their own patch this season, I've been slightly underwhelmed by what I've seen from them.
It has been a game where the two sides have cancelled each other out, really. Possession 2/3 to Arsenal, the attempts 5 apiece. We've had one shot on target between the two teams tonight.
Feels like that, doesn't it, as well? It does. Feels like there's a lot of competitiveness in the middle of the park, but I'm not seeing either team really producing any football that can raise it above the mediocre at the moment. But that suits Arsenal. That's fine. The Champions League is not about, as I mentioned right at the start, it's not about sparkling performances. If you get them in big games, that's a real bonus. What it's about progressing and doing the job and being professional and getting it done.
Porto mix it up with a long ball forward that is headed away by Gabriel, then well brought under control by Martinelli. It goes out of play. Martinelli stayed down. There's no foul by Conceição. It's gone out of play for a throw to Porto. Porto have just made a change, incidentally, their first. It's come in the heart of the midfield where Nico Gonzalez has gone off. And Ivan Jaime, a Spanish midfielder who is a regular off the bench, has come on. He's come off the bench 3 times as many occasions as he started this season. So he's on for the final 10. And it's 0-0 with Declan Rice in possession. And it's apart from that one chance that Andy detailed with the effort coming back off the left-hand post from Galeno, and he's then snatched it wide of the right-hand post with an immediate volley past an unguarded net. There hasn't been a concrete goal-scoring opportunity created by either side tonight. And that one was about an hour ago. It's been very tense and sterile for large passages of play. And with Arsenal's good home form and Porto's really poor away form in the knockout football in Europe in particular, you'd have to say that the situation suits the Gunners at the moment, just trying to ride out the storm. You certainly couldn't look at this performance, that one chance notwithstanding, and say that Arsenal deserved to lose this first leg, but they probably haven't done enough to win it. It's 0-0, 7.5 minutes to go. And the throw taken forward. You with Talksport and Talksport 2. Jim Proudfoot and Andy Townsend talking you through the action. Porto 0, Arsenal 0. A little back heel flick is clever, and an opportunity for Conceição to get into space on the edge of the box. The ball played by Pepe Aquino past the stumbling Conceição, who will get on the end of João Mario's ball in. It's a looping deflection on the cross that actually took it in the hands of David Raya, who bowls it out very intelligently to get Arsenal going. Ødegaard kept his feet, and as soon as the challenge was forthcoming, just slipped the ball off to his left-hand side. Arsenal will be able to push forward towards halfway now with Rice. Rice to the former Champions League winner Jorginho. Now Rice getting it forward between the lines, and Ødegaard couldn't get it under control.
Frustrated. In a good position there, Martin Ødegaard, for him. Don't normally see that, do we? A stray ball knocked into him and he miscontrols it. Just see more of a press from Porto now, as Arsenal pinch it with Martinelli in a good area.
Getting it forward, it didn't go where he wanted to. It was deflected back down towards the corner flag, and Havertz is making life difficult for Aaron Varela. Not difficult enough. And Pepe, who will be 41 when the two sides meet in the second leg, gets it away. Ball headed back through the midfield by Jakub Kiwior. Ball sailing then back over him. Porto preparing to make at least a double change in the next break in play. Have it at the back with Pepe. Are they going to really go for it? They're going to bringing Gonzalo Borges on, who's seen very little Champions League action over the course of the season. He's a winger that is going to be coming on very shortly. And in fact, that change can be made now. This is his 42nd appearance for Porto, 41 of them as a sub. Right. So one start. So he gets 10 minutes here and there, and he's getting about 5.5 tonight. But Arsenal have seen off the challenge of Evan Nielsen, the informed striker. 8 and 7 coming into tonight, but hasn't really had a kick.
No, never really had the chance. One little passage of play on the hour with Pepe Aquino, where they linked up nicely, and he had a shot that was blocked and it went out for a corner, but that aside, hasn't had a kick.
Now Porto bringing on Tony Martinez for Conceição. Tony Martinez, the Spanish forward or winger who was at West Ham for a while, didn't really make the grade there, only a handful of appearances. He had more in a loan spell at Oxford, but he's coming on with 5 minutes to go. Porto 0, Arsenal 0, so a double change, replacing the striker and the right winger with Tony Martinez and Gonzalo Borges. Arsenal have just made the one change all evening so far. Jorginho coming on to replace the ineffective Trossard. Diogo Costa with a long ball forward. White's headed that away. He brought down in the centre of midfield. Jorginho knew that he couldn't dive in. Rice was in strongly and has won it back. And then Arsenal try and bring it forward with Havertz, and it's come off Otavio and gone out of play for a corner, which Porto aren't happy with. They think that the last touch came off the Arsenal man, but it is a corner with 4 minutes to go.
Yep, another chance. Again, I'd just like to see them mix the corner up. I doubt they will. They might ping one towards the penalty spot, but they'll still put Ben White, Saliba in and around the goalkeeper. They'll be tussling and jostling and fighting for a yard of space. Declan Rice made a really good challenge there, right on the halfway line, an important one as well. Just denied Porto the chance to get up ahead of steam and counter right through the middle of midfield.
Now, he is a player that knows what it takes to go very, very deep in European competition, albeit not this one. He's done well, having picked up that yellow card in the very opening seconds of the game. Been a couple of moments where he's had to make well-timed challenges where there was very little margin for error, and he's done it. 3 to go, Arsenal's 9th corner, and Saka left-footed in, swinging in towards the near post, took a flick, just fell behind the Arsenal player, and Kivior coming in at the far post. He can't dive in because he's already been booked, and Porto with an opportunity to bring it away. Kivior then stops the counter-attack. The referee, as soon as that free kick was given, sprints away. But Kivior knew that he wasn't going to get a second yellow as a result of that, but he has brought down Wendell, and it's a free kick to Porto, and there's going to be a lot of stoppage time added on.
I would have thought so. Actually, Jakub Kivior there did really well, because he's chasing back, and I think you and I were both holding our breath thinking he's going to go to ground and make a challenge on Wendell. In the end, he just got shoulder to shoulder, and Wendell just kind of crumpled and collapsed to the floor. I think he's got a bit of cramp. But Jakub Kivior doing really well. No contact at all. He just goes to the floor.
And then Wendell immediately indicating that he had a problem, and Pepe leant over him and did that familiar rotation gesture with the index fingers to suggest that a change was going to have to be made. Immediate medical prognosis from the veteran defender, and seemingly one that's wrong, because I think Wendell's back on his feet and is going to be able to continue. Doesn't look comfortable, mine. 2 minutes to go, but play has been so stop-start in this second half that added time could be, well, pretty much anything. It wouldn't be a surprise if it was 6.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised, you're right.
Ball goes back for the Porto goalkeeper, and Diogo Carlos with a long ball for Saliba has waved the right leg at that and missed it. It'll be brought down by Tony Martinez. Borges sprints away to his right-hand side, but they couldn't play it to him. And Jaime ends up winning a free kick for a foul by Ben White. Now, this is a free kick. I don't think it's in a shooting position. I think it's a little bit too far out from that. It's quite central. But probably right at the limit of range for any set-piece taker. It looks as though Jaime had lost his balance before White made the contact that put him on the deck. But here's a chance as we go into the 90th minute.
Yeah, last opportunity, maybe for Porto to clip something into a dangerous area. Arsenal holding the edge of the 18-yard box. The free kick is about 40 yards out, slightly wide of centre. As we see a change coming from Porto again, it is Wendell that's going off.
And it is the Canadian Footballer of the Year, Stefan Eustáquio, who will come on. That's some claim when you win that award ahead of Alphonso Davies.
That's a good point.
So he's come on. He's a defensive-minded midfielder by trade. He started all 6 group games, didn't get the nod tonight. Free kick swung high inside the penalty area, and I think White got a call to leave it, just ducked his head underneath it. Ball curved then down towards the corner flag. It was whipped in with pace by Galeno, but not any real direction. It goes straight through to the goalkeeper. 4 minutes prescribed. 4 minutes away from a clean sheet, away from home. In the knockout stages in Europe, that will be a job well done for Arsenal, who will certainly feel that they will have laid the foundation tonight if this ends 0-0 for a safe passage through to the quarterfinals for the first time in 14 years. But let's not get ahead of ourselves yet.
No, just got to make sure they focus now for just these last few minutes. Bukayo Saka, one last chance maybe here.
And he's been brought down. And this is a free kick to Arsenal, level with the right-hand edge of the box and 12 yards outside the penalty area. And another chance to get the 6-footers forward. And an opportunity to get the delivery right to find them. And Arsenal will very deliberately just take their time over this to get everybody forward. There's been so much grappling for Arsenal offensive set pieces, with players not watching the ball, just watching each other, just trying to cancel out the movement inside the penalty area. But what can the Gunners muster from here? Be a big moment if they could score from this. It would feel like they've already got 1 foot in the quarterfinals. Rice and Ødegaard, the 2 players standing over it. Will be a left-footed in-swinger from Ødegaard or a right-footed ball eased towards the far post by Rice. Ødegaard's looking the favourite. It is actually Rice that takes it, and the header goes over the bar from Gabriel. Came to meet it 8 yards out, couldn't keep it down.
Chance that. decent ball in, got too much on it. Just want to glance that. It's a good ball whipped in by Declan Rice. Gabriel's about 7-8 yards out. It's on his head. He's clearly towering above everybody else, but he just puts too much on it. Heads it over the crossbar. When just a little glance, a little nick on that, and it would have the goalie in trouble.
Well, the Sports Bar will be interesting tonight to decode this Arsenal performance. They haven't had a shot on target, and I don't know whether some fans might think that is an indictment of the way that they played tonight, or doesn't show them in a very good light. That wouldn't be my view of it, I must admit.
No, it wouldn't be my view of it either. They've had plenty of the ball, they've had a lot of possession. Most of the stuff that has found its way towards David Raya, he has dealt with quite well. They just haven't really managed to get Martinelli and Saka at full speed, at top speed, and at their most influential. Odegaard's been on the edges of it, really not been able to influence the game enough. But all things considered, Jim, travel away from home at this stage of the Champions League and you keep a clean sheet, gives you a chance. Careless there from Gabriel, losing possession.
It's work back for David Rice, not the best kick from him. Didn't get too much height on it. He's got back in position now. Pepe Aquino's just lost out. Rice is able to get it away. He's then given it away. And in the final minute of the 4 added, Porto will bring it forward again. Rice with a sliding challenge to enough. Martinelli clips it to safety. Couldn't find Saka though. And back will come from Otavio. So one last opportunity for Porto. It is a stunning goal. Galeno, who missed a sitter in the first half, has lashed one in from 25 yards, curved across the face of David Raya and into the bottom right-hand corner. And just as it looked as though Arsenal had laid the foundation for a place in the quarter-finals, they know that they're going to have to come from behind in the tie, because in the 4th minute of stoppage time, Porto have won it on the night and will take an aggregate lead to North London.
Do you know, Gabriel very carelessly loses control of the ball. He could have served it forward, he's miscontrolled it, and then Arsenal have had 2 attempts to find a red and white shirt, and they failed both times. Eventually, Porto served that ball forward to Galeno, who manages to curl a shot very cleverly, really carefully, over David Raya. I'm wondering whether the goalkeeper was a little too far out, because it sails over him. But again, it's Martinelli who tries to find Odegaard. He's got 3 players he could find. He doesn't do it. The ball comes to Galeno. No, David Raya's in a decent position. It doesn't really... It's not hit with ferocious pace. It's like a cross. It's clipped and it's curled towards the far post. David Raya commits to going for it, leaping, going with the top hand. Can't get it. And it sails in about 3 foot off the ground into that far corner. And it's a real careless goal. We spoke about Arsenal's experience, Jim, before the game. You were quite right to mention it. They've just shown inexperience right there.
Now Odegaard snatches an effort from the edge of the D, and there is going to be no equaliser. Porto have beaten Arsenal by a goal to 0 surely. Galeno's 5th of this Champions League campaign has reserved his best football for this competition this season. It is an exquisite strike.
It's a good goal. It's the sort of strike, though, that you would expect your goalkeeper to get. How far out would we say he was? He was
5 yards?
Outside the box. I'm talking about
sorry.
Him, Galeno.
Yeah, 4 yards outside the box.
23, 24 yards out.
Well, he'll be hugely disappointed. And it is advantage Porto. And Arsenal have ridden their luck with the one that he inexplicably missed in the first half. But from that point on, there was no real danger. And although Arsenal didn't produce a sparkling attacking performance, they didn't even muster an attempt on target. It looked as though they were in complete control. But they got a really poor record on this ground, and they've been beaten again when they last won a tie in this stage of this competition. They lost the first leg on this ground and came back and won comfortably in North London. They're going to have to do it the hard way again. They've been beaten tonight by a goal to 0.
Wow, and what a goal to 0 as well. Andy Townsend, if you're going to lose a game, lose it to a goal like that. I think you can pick apart how they ended up with the ball, Porto. You can have a look at Raya's positioning and ask yourselves, is he tall enough even to be in the Arsenal goal when he concedes a goal like that? But we talked about Galeno, didn't we, before the game? He is their star man. He was the star man of the group stages. He's gone and scored an absolute worldie to win it on the night. What a goal that was.
It was a great goal. From his point of view, he was their most dangerous player all night. Should have scored in the first half, but he's produced something very special. That should never have happened. Arsenal should never, ever have lost possession of that ball with literally seconds left of the game. They've had 3 attempts. First Gabriel to try and get hold of it and keep it and just serve it forward, serve it up the line. He miscontrolled it. Eventually it comes to Martinelli. He's got Odegaard, he's got Saka, he's got Kai Havertz. 3 players totally unmarked in a wide area. He gives the ball away. They find Galeno. He picks his head up. He has a look. He's 24, 25 yards out. Curls it beautifully, deliberately over the outstretched hand of David Raya into the far corner to give Porto a huge and significant advantage. They're not great. I've got to tell you, they're not great. Arsenal can beat them, but it will not be straightforward now.
No, it won't. They've got work to do. There's no doubt about that, Arsenal. And Porto can now fashion a game plan coming to the Emirates in 3 weeks' time. Arsenal have scored 16 in the group stages, scored 21 in their last 5 Premier League games. Nothing on target. And you talk about Gabriel losing the ball for the goal. He had a great chance. Rice's free kick was superb.
Yeah.
But he got a pogo stick on his head because the ball rocketed miles in the air when it's easier to get it on target, surely.
Just glance it, yeah. It was one of those free kicks that's whipped, and he's about 7 yards out, right in the middle of the goal, and he just gets too much on it and heads it over the bar. A slight little nick on that, and the goalkeeper it'd be guesswork for the goalkeeper. He wouldn't know which way to dive. As it is now, Arsenal are going to have to come from behind. Are they capable of doing that? Yes. They played at 60% tonight, the Gunners. They weren't at their best. They didn't manage the tie, I don't think, particularly brilliantly. Early on, I'd like to have seen them a bit more positive. I think they very much had this 2-legged affair in the back of their mind right from the get-go. I think the order of the day from them was, let's not get beat. Well, that's exactly what's happened. That's Champions League football for you, Aid. You give the ball away in bad areas. You lose your concentration for a split second. Players at this level now will hurt you.